What screams, we are not going to last long for couples. Number 1. The way they speak to each other when they're not alone. I noticed this after my divorce and I started dating again. Because you speak to these new people with a lot of respect and kindness. Then we'd get around married couples. And they'd say awful things to each other in nasty, snappy tones, and it was jarring. Fast forward 10 years and all those couples I noticed doing that are divorced now. Number 2. When one person wants to fix the other. If your relationship is a repair project, you didn't fall in love with who they are. You fell in love with what you want them to be. Number 3. After my ex and I broke up, she told me that she couldn't find a notebook of hers, and that if I found it in my stuff to please throw it away. It was her personal thoughts and weren't meant to be read by anyone else. I told her I wouldn't read it and I meant it. I had no intention on violating her request. A year later I was going through a box and found a notebook I didn't recognize, and had long forgotten my pledge to my ex. I just thought, what's this? And opened it up. By the time I realized it was the notebook she asked about, I already had the gist of it. It wasn't a diary. She had been spying on me and journaling all her findings. A page would read like, for 5:55 p.m. says he has to work late. 6 p.m. his office light is on, so are Michelle's and Jennifer's, but Jennifer's car isn't there. 7:30 p.m. his car is still there, office light is on, Michelle's car is still in the parking lot. 12:30 p.m. his car is gone for lunch, so is Tina's. Neither at parents' condo. She was good at it too. Never once did I catch her, or even caught a glimpse of what I thought might be her car. Never did I come home unexpectedly and find her not home. Nothing. But she was regularly acting as a pie, thinking I was banging every girl I worked with. Number 4. If all disagreements end in arguments. Me and my partner disagree about a lot of stuff, but we can talk, discuss, and even sometimes agree with the other person's side. It'd be weird if you saw eye to eye on 100% of stuff too. Number 5. I was at a party one time and there was a marriage counselor there that had been working for 20-something years in couples counseling. I asked her what the number 1 sign was that the couple wasn't going to make it. Without hesitating, she said if one person shows contempt for the other's feelings, it's over. Number 6. If they have strongly conflicted plans for their future. Either means they'll break up eventually, or one or both of them will end up in an unhappy compromise. Number 7. A recent personal experience I witnessed. The entire immediate family of one side of a wedding said it was a bad idea. And less than a month into the marriage, one of them stayed at their mom's house for the night because they were fighting. Also, they got engaged as a result of a failed breakup attempt. Number 8. When the dynamic is super obvious to outsiders early on, that's a bad sign. Whatever is happening on the outside is always worse on the inside. I know a couple where the woman will just berate her man publicly. She'll talk to him like he's an actual child. She tells him how much he's allowed to do certain things, but twists it so it doesn't look as bad. It's as if she genuinely thinks he's mentally disabled or something, except she only does it when she's being controlling. For example, she hates when he plays video games. She thinks it's immature and a waste of time that could be spent hanging out with her or being productive. She thinks it's embarrassing that he plays video games, so he has to sneak around to play video games at other people's houses so that he can play it off as if it's the other person's fault that he was playing, like, oh, Mike wanted to play and I just couldn't say no at his house. Now I have seen this couple having a semi-private fight. They're very loud and literally go one room away from their guests to have fights. This woman will berate the way he talks during fights and literally mock him to his face in a baby voice like, "No, Nana, I'm a grown man and I still play video games." Instead of actually making real commentary on the argument, this breaks his spirit, and he ends up just exhausting during the fight and succumbing to whatever she wants. And the things she wants are super inconsistent, so he can't win there either. The public thinks she doesn't like video games and looks down on him for it. But privately she's completely broken this guy's spirit and he can't escape the cycle. Due to constant emotional exhaustion, and that's not even true privacy. That's when I'm in another room. God only knows how bad it is when they're completely alone together. I hear some of it because this guy has come to my house when she kicks him out for the night. And he vents to me while we play hours of video games, of course. Number 9. I told my wife it makes me sad when she yelled at me. Her response, "Oh boo-hoo, the little boy is depressed. Go ahead and cry, little baby." This was because she felt I didn't do enough. Around the house while I was doing an intensive nursing course. I tried to talk about it and she just shut me down. Said I was manipulative, then went silent, so I left her. She voluntarily went to couples counseling with me and started seeing a therapist on her own of her own volition. And they referred her to a psychiatrist who diagnosed, and she started taking meds. She literally did everything to fix herself so I'd take her back. I participated openly and honestly with couples counseling, saw my own therapist, and also ended up getting medicated. Turns out we were both part of the problem. And we both stepped up for each other. Now we are unbreakable. We communicate openly. And we love each other for who we are. But it took me leaving for her to realize she had problems that I couldn't help her with. I think I was an enabler. Number 10. Having a kid to fix their relationship. Number 11. When you start calculating how much you give and receive in a relationship. Number 12. If the relationship started by one of them cheating on their previous partner and then leaving them to be with this new person. I've witnessed 2 of these early and both of them ended with, surprise, more cheating. Like, I don't know why you'd possibly think starting a relationship with someone who you already know isn't faithful would be a good idea. Number 13. Social media addiction. If the person constantly needs to show the world they have a significant other and that they are just so happy together, and then gets mad that the other doesn't post as much, social media addiction ruins relationships. I know of a couple who the wife has access to his social media and will post as him showing pictures and checking into places with her. They are getting divorced now. Number 14. When they argue over insignificant things like buying the wrong type of spaghetti sauce. Number 15. If either or both display contempt for one another. I'm not talking about irritation or annoyance or even anger. Those are all emotions that indicate where some work can be done, but aren't indicators of the end. I'm talking about sneering, repulsed, condescending, no respect. Full-on contempt. It's been over for a while when things get to this point. I was out hiking with friends once, and we found a downed tree. The bottom was twisted up, dry root chunks, pale brown bark, and withered crispy leaves. Up at the top of the tree, the bark was still vibrant, bright green leaves unfurled, even some new growth. The water the tree had been pulling up from the earth was still flowing upwards, leaving the dry and twisted bottom half dead and dusty, supporting the top for however much longer that water would last. My friend looked at it, pointed to the place on the tree where you could see that change and said, "This tree doesn't know it's dead yet. If you show contempt for your partner or vice versa, your relationship doesn't know it's dead yet.